At 27 years old, Egypt Covington's life was taking off.
She had finally found a job that she really liked. She had just bought a new car and she had started dating a new boyfriend.
And not just any boyfriend.
She was in love with him.
She was in love with him.
Egypt and Curtis Meadows had dated on and off for years, but now both were ready to take the next step.
She and Curtis were going to move in together, and she was very excited about that.
Just days before he was supposed to move in, Curtis Meadows found his girlfriend shot to death inside her home in Van Buren Township, Michigan.
It was the worst day of my life. The beginning of it.
The beautiful blues singer had been bound with Christmas lights, a chilling detail Curtis didn't think he'd ever share.
I didn't want people to have that image in their head and have it, affect them the way it did me.
Police say there was no sign of forced entry and no sign of robbery. They believe Egypt knew her killer, and probably very well.
The cops were pretty clear that it wasn't a robbery. Whoever killed her knew her.
No, she knew.
Naturally, the first person questioned by cops, her boyfriend, Curtis.
The police say they grilled you.
I was strapped down, taking a lie detector test. 3 days later, after finding her, it's just been hell. The only thing I'm guilty of is loving her.
Cops quickly determined Curtis had no involvement in Egypt's murder.
Did you, even for a moment, consider the possibility that Curtis may have been involved?
No.
But then, who wanted Egypt Covington dead? Who had a motive and enough rage to murder the beautiful 27-year-old?
Is that, anybody that knew her and knew the situation that found out that she got murdered had one thought in her head.
That thought pointed to who, and it was kept tightly under wraps until now.
That makes me sick to my stomach.
Just as Crime Watch Daily starts to investigate Egypt's killing, police for the first time name a person of interest. The name comes as no surprise to most of Egypt's family and friends.
I begged her to stop talking to him.
During Curtis and Egypt's time apart, Beth Covington says the only person her sister ever dated was Kenny Michalak. At times, she claims the relationship was volatile.
He was so crazy and would look through her phone and would blow up her friends, like if she didn't answer. Where's she at? Where's she at? I found out about how many of her friends he slept with to belittle her, to make her feel worthless.
But Beth says she had no idea just how strained the relationship had become until their last family vacation on board a private yacht in the Caribbean.
She just started spewing like everything that has occurred over the years.
What did she say?
I heard about times where he would get mad and punch the wall next to her head. He really liked to shove her a lot, from what she told me. At a wedding that she attended, he threw her up against a wall.
Egypt didn't confide in many people about the alleged abuse, but she did tell Curtis what happened at the wedding.
After the wedding, I guess back at the hotel, there was a get-together, and he got physical with her. What she explained, it was more or less grabbing her, pushing her up against the wall, and kind of restraining her.
According to Curtis, the cops were called, but no charges were filed.
From what she said, the wedding party, in their way, kind of made her feel guilty of, ruining the celebration.
Looking back on it, you wish that she had filed charges now?
I don't know if it would have changed the outcome or anything, but maybe that would have got more people, like her parents, aware of the situation.
Did Egypt ever share any problems as far as physical violence or?
She didn't mention to me about any physical violence. She did speak of arguments, verbal abuse.
Chuck Covington says his daughter certainly never told him about any of the alleged abuse, and he believes he knows why.
She might not have wanted him to get into more trouble than he would. Sharing it would have brought reaction, and maybe she didn't want the reaction.
Are you upset that no one told you what was going on?
Yeah. I've never really thought about it. It's what happened. It's how it worked. But yeah.
And you could have helped.
I'm sure.
With no police reports ever filed, Crime Watch Daily cannot verify the allegations of abuse made by her family and friends. We do know that Egypt eventually ended the relationship and the two remained friends.
It took a long time for her to actually make him understand that, like, they were broken up. And I think that maybe she could have been more stern.
When Egypt told Kenny she was back with Curtis, her sister claims he didn't take it well.
He called her was really upset.
The month before her murder, Curtis claims Kenny showed up at his house early one Sunday morning. He says, as usual, Egypt had spent the night.
I was on the third story, and she parked right in the parking lot, which is just right outside my window. I looked at her car, and I noticed his truck parked right behind it, and he was snooping around her vehicle, looking in the windows, and just kind of went around it one circle and then got in his truck and took off.
That's crazy.
Very crazy.
Curtis claims Egypt confronted Kenny about it, and he told her that he was in the area for work when he noticed her sunroof open in the rain.
What did your gut tell you was going on?
I thought possibly that he had some kind of tracker.
Kristen Covington claims her stepdaughter was starting to wonder the same thing.
She did mention that he was always, when she would go somewhere, that he would be there in the background.
The last time anyone saw Egypt and Kenny together was at the Belleville Strawberry Festival.
I let her know, I was like, hey, listen, you know, Kenny's here with so-and-so. And she's like, oh, really? Where? I'm like, well, he's by where you get your drinks.
Curtis claims the encounter was explosive.
Out of the corner of my eye, I can see her coming storming up to our table. He was right on her heels, like following her.
Curtis claims Kenny was enraged.
She said he found out that you were moving in.
And he was upset about it.
Yeah. I guess, you know, he, I don't know, maybe he felt like all hope is gone.
Did you get a sense from her that she was worried or really upset by him?
No. I never got the feeling that she was threatened by him.
But Egypt's stepmom claims she was in fact scared to tell Kenny that Curtis was moving in.
She was fearful. I said, do you think that this could be concerning? And she said, Mom, he's like a lost puppy. You know, I feel bad. And I said, well, we can't always save all lost puppies.
Gross. Egypt may not have been worried, but her sister Beth was.
It's very terrifying. Like, I was scared for her. Like, I really kept begging her, please stop talking to him. She was like, I promise, Sissy, I'll stop talking to him.
As far as anyone knows, the last time Egypt and Kenny talked was at the Strawberry Festival. 1 week later, she was found shot to death. Up next, Kenny Michalak, now officially a person of interest. Will he respond to the allegations against him?
We've been told by her family and friends that you were abusive towards her.
And a surprising show of support for Egypt's ex.
He was not abusive to her. I don't care what anybody says.
Did you suspect anyone right away?
Yeah. I mean, the one person that she had decided to leave behind because there's nobody else that would want her dead.